I always wanted to be a scientist, obviously, from a very young age, but I really struggled in school to even get into college. And it wasn't until I got through college um, that I realized I love making things with my hands. And it was the only major that I could take where I didn't have to take math. And what happened was I couldn't get into college. My parents advocated because I always wanted to teach. And Penn State, as a Pennsylvania resident, did not accept me, but they said, all right, they would take me on probation. And they took me on probation, and I found art education, and I just took off. And so what happened was from there, I went on for a master's degree in art education, and then I got an MFA in sculpture from Rhode Island School of Design. And what I realized was I could merge my passion for science through my work as an artist. Because I've always been curious about science. And even though, as a dyslexic person, a lot of times I struggle with reading, and I do a lot of lecturing to kids, and I tell them, like them, I do struggle with reading. But the gift of dyslexia, which is a brain issue, is you're able to make connections that most people don't see. So a lot of times I do a lot of lecturing to scientists, and a lot of times when I share that with scientists, they're totally fascinated with this ability, and they can't understand. They say, do you have no formal science training? How do you know all this stuff? And I think I know it because I'm curious. And because of the dyslexia, it allows me to see connections that most people, not even scientists, see. So that really catapulted my passion for bringing science into my art. I work a lot with mixed medium, and one of the things that I like to do is to intersect with a diversity and a variety of different kinds of scientists. And I'm very curious about how science especially has this incredible ability to connect, even though you don't always experience that with scientists and through science. But there are these extraordinary connections that scientists don't always have an opportunity to make because science tends to be very myopic. And I think one of the advantages for scientists of working with an artist is artists have this ability to look at what they're doing through a new lens and offer them, another way of just interpreting what they're observing. In terms of how this brain visualization seminar was set up, I think that Dr. Swan and Dr. Murphy did an extraordinary job in terms of the discovery process of how they set it up. I did not find that out from them. I actually found it out from Sarah and Viola, who I met with yesterday on a second Zoom thing. We did a follow-up Zoom thing because they were interested in, I love to talk to people about their development and their discovery. And one of the things that was so special to me was Sarah did this beautiful drawing of 3 images of the sheep brain. And I said to her, when did you do this in the process? She said, as soon as I unbagged the sheep's heads, the brains, I decided I wanted to draw them. And they were the drawing of an artist as opposed to an anatomical drawing. And so I talked to them about what their experience was in terms of looking at this more as a still life object as opposed to something that they needed to research or study. And I think it was so incredible that the 2 professors set this up in a way that they allowed these artists to tap into their discovery process first and really experience it first that way. Because to me, that's the most authentic way of experiencing something. When you're doing an anatomical study, your left brain, your logical side of your brain starts kicking in. When you're just responding in the most authentic way to what you're drawing, that comes from your heart. That doesn't always necessarily come from your head. And I just loved hearing these two women discuss about their process of discovery, which we had a long discussion about yesterday. And I think they've done an innovative job interpreting their scientific research. I've been very impressed. All of us come into the world with a blank page, and all these incredibly rich experiences that we have, both good and bad, become part of our narrative. And, you know, we all have ways that we share that narrative. I get to share it through artwork. Other people get to share it through writing, through music, through dance. But when we tap into our authentic self, that's when magic happens.